My name is Angela Guzman, and you are tuned to Siendo Primero on board the Radio Cofa, a service of Arizona Western College for 54 years. If you like Siendo Primero, you can find us at kwc.org or on the Cofa app.
Bueno, vamos a empezar.
Hola, hola, espero que estén teniendo un gran día. Hoy tengo el placer de compartir con ustedes una conversación muy especial. El día de hoy me encuentro con Jorge. Jorge, ¿podrías presentarte y hablarnos un poquito de ti, por favor?
Buenas, mi nombre es Jorge Luis de Anda. Soy un estudiante de AWC. Mi major es la de Administration Justice Studies.
Y cuéntame, ¿qué significa para ti ser estudiante de primera generación?
No, pues estuvo bien. De ser parte de la primera generación, pues se podría decir que sería parte de la historia del colegio, siendo, ¿cómo se llama? Un recordatorio de ser uno de los estudiantes que fue parte de este bonito colegio, pues para ser honestos, con buenos profesores.
Y cuéntame, al momento de entrar, ¿tenías algo que te daba miedo o tal vez algo que aún te da miedo?
Pues mi miedo era tener mucha tarea, para ser honesto. Pero al final, pues dije, mi miedo era de, pues se podría decir que también no saber cómo se llama convivir con la gente, pero dije, lo voy a hacer, todos ya lo he pasado en la primaria, secundaria o en la prepa, y dije, pues, no hay, ¿para qué voy a tener ese miedo otra vez? Si todos lo vencí una vez, lo voy a vencer otra vez.
Y cuéntame, hablando de tus tareas, entonces, ¿cómo manejas todo ese sistema de las tareas? ¿Tienes algunas como tips que nos quieras dar para cómo organizarte en cuestión de hacer tus tareas?
Siempre, básicamente lo que hago es leer cómo se llama, de qué se trata la tarea, checar cuáles son las fechas, si son las que más se acercan están más cerca de cómo se llama cerrarse. Lo que hago es simplemente aprovechar mi tiempo, hago esas tareas primero y ya después voy con las que tardan más en cerrarse y, ¿cómo se llama? Y sí, y pues tener un sistema de buscar las cuáles son más fáciles de hacer y ya luego hacer las difíciles, analizar un poco y ya.
Y cuéntame, ¿cuál fue uno de tus más grandes desafíos al estar aquí en el colegio?
Para ser honesto, pues yo soy uno de los estudiantes que cruza la frontera, así que para mí fue uno de los más difíciles. Fue como se llama saber administrar mi horario y ese fue uno de los problemas, pues porque como se llama no saber cuándo iba a ser de fila y cuánto iba a ser la velocidad. Ese era uno de mis mayores desafíos, pero dependiendo cómo se llama mi horario y saber a qué hora vengo, pues era un desafío que pues era un reto, pero que supe cómo se llama administrarlo bien.
Wow, la verdad, los tiempos siempre son, yo creo que uno de los más difíciles retos que tenemos, porque claro, si no te sabes organizar bien, pues todo empezará a caerse y caerse y caerse. ¿Y podrías contarme qué es lo que más te ayudó en tu primer año aquí en el colegio?
Pues, ¿cómo se llama? Tener buenas amistades, crear buenas amistades en este colegio. Pues después de todo, si no fuera por ellos, no tendría muchos amigos que me ayudaron en el camino que he vivido en este colegio desde el 2022, que ya a lo mejor este año, a lo mejor ya seré uno de los que se gradúa, pero sí, ese fue uno de ¿cómo se llama? Una de las grandes ayudas que he recibido, tener buenos amigos que me ayudaron en este camino.
Wow, un próximo graduado entonces. ¿Y podrías contarme un poquito de tu carrera? ¿Cómo fue todo este proceso de decidir, quiero estudiar esto?
Pues yo elegí la carrera de administración de justicia porque era algo que no estaba en mi familia. Muchos de mis familiares pues terminaban siendo pues albañiles, ingenieros, pues casi mayormente eran albañiles, mecánicos, o sea, algo que dije pues quiero hacer algo que no es parte de ellos, algo como salir un poco del molde, pero y también pues dije, quiero hacer algo que quise ser de pequeño, una de mis historias y era ser, ¿cómo se llama? Alguien que ayudaba a la gente, ayudar al pueblo a ayudar, ¿cómo se llama? A que la gente pueda salir bien de sus casas, salir, ¿cómo se llama? Que sientan protección.
¿Y no fue un desafío el decirle a tu familia, quiero estudiar esto? Como dices, ¿no? Saliendo de ese molde.
Pues un poquito, pues es que ellos esperaban que pues siguiera como los pasos o como el camino seguro. Pero yo quise aventarme un reto mucho más grande y era como salir un poco de ese molde, ¿cómo se llama? Practicar algo que ellos nunca creyeron que iba a hacer. Y pues para mí es algo que es algo bien.
¿Y cómo te sientes al demostrarles, no, que sí se puede y que lo vas a lograr?
Pues orgulloso de mí porque simplemente estoy rompiendo las expectativas que ellos tenían, que creerían que fracasaría, pero que al final no. básicamente, lo tomo esto es como si fuera un oficio, pues, o sea, esforzándome duro cada día, pues, para completar un sueño y no solo eso, sino que crear un futuro.
¿Qué consejo le darías a tu yo pequeño o a alguien que esté pasando por la misma situación que tú?
Pues, de que no se viendo tan fácil. El camino puede ser duro, pero si buscas, ¿cómo se llama?, completar los obstáculos, saber, ¿cómo se llama?, analizar los obstáculos, simplemente siempre tienes que luchar. La única cosa que se puede pagar todo, se puede pagar el camino, la luz, pero lo que nunca se va a perder es la esperanza.
Por el día de hoy eso es todo. Muchísimas gracias por compartir este momento conmigo y espero que lo hayas disfrutado. Gracias.
Ujú, igualmente.
Gracias.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Siendo Primero, a radio show dedicated to celebrating the vibrant Hispanic and Latino community in the United States. Here, we embrace diversity, culture, and the stories that make us who we are. Hola a todos y bienvenidos a Siendo Primero, un programa de radio dedicado a celebrar la vibrante comunidad hispana y latina en los Estados Unidos. Aquí abrazamos la diversidad, la cultura y las historias que nos hacen ser quien somos. My name is Angelica Albarrán, and you are tuned to Siendo Primero on board the Radio COFA, a service of Arizona Western College since 1970. If you like Siendo Primero, you can find us at kwc.org or in the COFA app. This is the 70th edition of Siendo Primero, y el día de hoy tenemos el honor de compartir la historia de Ana Martínez, cuya determinación y vocación la llevaron a superar obstáculos personales, académicos y financieros en su camino hacia convertirse en una enfermera. Actualmente forma parte del equipo de Onvira, una organización comprometida con brindar atención médica de calidad con un enfoque centrado en la empatía, la dignidad y el cuidado integral de su paciente. Su rol dentro de la institución no solo es el resultado de años de preparación, sino también el reflejo de una lucha constante por cumplir sus metas, incluso cuando las circunstancias parecían jugar en su contra. Su recorrido profesional comenzó en Arizona Western College, donde dio los primeros pasos en el área de enfermería. Aunque desde el principio demostró compromiso y excelencia académica, su trayecto no fue fácil. Uno de los momentos más difíciles fue cuando perdió su ayuda financiera, lo cual representó una amenaza directa a su continuidad académica. Con recursos limitados y enfrentando la incertidumbre, tuvo que tomar decisiones difíciles, buscar nuevas alternativas y mantener la esperanza viva en medio de la presión. A pesar de estas barreras, nunca perdió de vista su propósito, ayudar a los demás y marcar una diferencia en la vida de las personas a través de su profesión. Su historia es un ejemplo de perseverancia y dedicación, y nos recuerda que, aunque el camino hacia nuestras metas puede estar lleno de desafíos, con esfuerzo, fe en uno mismo y una visión clara, todo es posible.
Hello, everyone. Today we are here with.
Ana Martinez.
Okay, she is coming from Onvita Health.
Yes.
So, first of all, are you or were you an AWC student?
I have been in the past. Yes. It's been a few years.
Okay, are you a first generation student?
Yes.
So, how do you feel about this? Like being the first one in your family that achieved all these goals? How do you feel?
It's there's really no like feeling. I don't know how to describe it.
Mhm,
It's an honor, and my mom and my dad didn't even make it past high school. I don't think.
mhm,
They are from Mexico.
Okay.
And they worked really hard. So they always taught us, you know, work really hard, and you achieve anything that you want, you can achieve it. So now seeing it, like actually happening and living in it, it's like almost like an out of body experience, and it's a really good feeling.
Once you realize, I guess it feels awesome.
It does, yeah. Like I just kind of looked in the mirror one day and I was like, oh, like I did that. Like it's
Yeah.
weird, you know.
Yeah.
So
When you were a student, how did you feel? Did you feel pressure? Did you feel supported by your parents?
And what type of classes did you take? 'Cause, did you start with that program on AWC or?
no, I started just with prerequisites,
Mhm.
and
Uh-huh.
it was always really hard because I've always struggled in school, especially math. Math is like sometimes still use my fingers to count, believe it or not. And I really struggled. So, um, my mom never, she was always so supportive. Like if I told her like I struggled, she would always be like, you could do it. Just keep
Mhm.
trying. Like, you can do it. And I did give up a few times, and I think I like probably. I mean, I started at AWC when I was 17. I graduated high school at 17, so I was really young and immature, and I failed a few classes here and there, and then
Mhm.
I would take a break, and then I would like come
Enroll.
back and take another class, and then I just really struggled with school, and I started just working right away, and I just, had jobs here and there, and I never really could figure out what I wanted to do. And then I decided I wanted to be a nurse. So I knew that was going to be really hard because I wasn't good at math. So I came to WC, and I sat down with an advisor, and the advisor's like, okay, this is what you need to do. So one of the first classes that I needed to take was the CNA program, which I did it and I passed it, and I couldn't believe it because it was like really smart people that like every week during testing were like dropping like flies, and I
Yeah.
was like, oh my God, and I passed, and I couldn't believe it, and I went and took my state board, and I passed again, and I was like, what's happening?
Yeah, I think
Um,
sometimes you gotta push yourself to
yeah,
know when your limits are.
yeah,
So
that's what it
that's
was.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And I'm glad that you mentioned that because a lot of our students that interview mentioned that he has like a lot of he was scared about the classes and don't pass the CNA or that's a lot of that requirements. Um, and you mentioned that you were scared
yeah, I
and
was.
you did that.
I did it. Yeah, and I couldn't believe
Yeah,
it.
I think that this can like motivate a lot of our audience because
encourage
yeah, a lot of students has like the same
feeling.
like yeah.
Yeah. And it was hard because I knew a lot of people that were doing it. And even when I was in the CNA program, I was already kind of older at that point,
Mhm.
and there was a lot of, really young students in the program who already had like few of their prereqs done. Like that's all they needed to just apply for the nursing program.
Kind of rushing.
Yeah, and I was
Mhm.
like, how are they doing that?
Yeah.
It was just so easy for them. So it was really hard to see like a lot of these students like fresh out of the CNA program, they were ready to apply to the nursing program.
Mhm.
And I was like, I still have like my math to take, and
Yeah.
I still need to do anatomy and physiology, and I still need to do some biology. So I was like, it was a little discouraging, but I was like, just, if I have to do one class, they were taking like 3 classes at a time, 4 classes, and I couldn't do that. So I think at that time I had like 3 jobs and I was doing school, so it was like
Okay.
really
Mhm.
That's
hard.
heavy.
And then I remember the day I took my final exam, I found out I was pregnant. So
What?
it was like a lot at once.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
And these just, I told myself, don't get discouraged, like just take one class at a time, do one here, one there. And I couldn't. So at the time I was working at a clinic, and I always told I never wanted to be in the medical field until I worked at that clinic. Then I started the CNA program. Then it was kind of just went from there. And when I realized, like, yeah, I don't know if I'm like cut for it. Like, I don't know if I'm cut to do a harsh, nursing program.
Hmm.
I don't know. I didn't know. I didn't think it was for me. I didn't know what I wanted to do yet. I knew I wanted to do something medical. I just didn't know. And when you think medical field, you either think a doctor or a nurse, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
There's so many different healthcare professions out there that you have no idea
Mhm.
That they
exist.
exist. Mhm.
And when I worked in that clinic, and we would see all these patients before, and then they would come back, like we
Mhm.
would schedule them for surgery, and they would come back, after surgery, healed, feeling better,
Mhm.
whatever. I was like, I started to think like, I want to know what that's like. Like I want to be there when they do that.
Mhm.
So I started asking the surgeon like, hey, so you own a surgical center, and he would also work at the hospital. Like, can I start observing, or do you need
Mhm.
help at your surgery center? So little by little, I kind of did that. And
Mhm.
I remember the first day he had our robot was brand new at the time. Now we have like 4 or 5 robots at the hospital,
Mhm.
6 robots,
Takes
which
crazy.
is amazing because he was pushing to get one, and they finally got one. And I remember I asked him like, "Can I observe like one of your robotic surgeries?" And he's like, "Yeah, of course." And he got me in, and I remember just like I couldn't believe it. Like I just could not believe that there was a robot helping that surgeon operate on a patient, and it was so successful, and it was just like the coolest thing ever. And I think that was really the day that I was like,
You found
I
out.
want, and I saw
Mhm.
there was a lot of staff in there. You have an anesthesiologist, you have your surgeon, you have your circulating nurse, you have your surgical tech, you have your surgical first assist. There was just a lot of different things going on, and I was like, I want to do that. So I started kind of to like poke his brain, like, hey, like I kind of want to do that. Yeah, do it,
Do it.
do it.
Damn, I
And it
feel
took a few
overwhelmed
years.
just like by listening what you're saying.
It was
There's
very
a
overwhelming.
lot of
Yeah.
stuff going on.
And you see
Uh,
the like the importance to ask.
mhm.
Like
Like
you did
That was
that
just
like
all it
just
was. Just
asking.
yeah.
Yeah.
just go ask and figure out.
Yeah,
Hmm.
please go ask.
And I think that like if I would have never asked him, hey, I want to do that. Like, what do
Hmm.
you think? Luckily, he was very like he was so such a smart person, and he was very encouraging, and he's very like for the people. So he was like, you can do it. Like, do it.
Go ahead.
Do it. Like,
Mhm.
you should do it. And I mean, it took a few years because then, like, he ended up, merging with the hospital. And then we were like a new clinic. So we were redoing, like, just, it was a lot. And then after a while, I was like, hey, so remember that conversation? Like, I want to
Mm.
do it.
Yes.
So, thank God for him, because if it wasn't for him, I don't think I would have had that, like, motivation. I would have just been, and I loved my job, but it wasn't like enough.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
I needed more. So luckily, I pushed for more, and it got me to where I am
Yeah,
today.
be ambitious.
Yeah, that's all it
Mhm.
Okay.
was. And I always told
Excellent.
myself I was never the ambitious type up until now that I look back at it and I'm like, oh,
You were.
like I was, like I did that. So it's really cool to see that.
Okay. So, well, first of all, I'm gonna congrat you because you need a lot of you need to be brave for doing everything you did. You really gotta be there. You gotta know, or at least view the path you want to go, and that's not easy most of the time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So you mentioned that you couldn't like take much classes here in Yuma. Can you talk to us a little bit about how that was, like how you completed your degree?
So at the time, I believe, I think what the program for the surgical tech, like to be a surgical tech, that program isn't offered here in Yuma. I think there was like
Mhm.
a one or two schools in Phoenix that did it, and then the school that most of the techs went to was in Lake Havasu. So when I first started to ask about it, the surgeon was like, hey, well, I'm going to ask some of the techs that already work at the hospital. I'm going to see how they did their program, and then they'll reach out to you. And they did. They reached out and they were like, oh, hey, you know what? Had to go to Lake Havasu and do the program there. And it was like almost 2 years. So I was like, that's out the window. Like, I
Mhm.
work, like, I support my family. There's no way I can take off for two
Mhm.
years and come back and do that. So um, I had already, I kind of was trying to, I still had the nursing program in the back of my mind because I thought, if I can't, like, there's not, what else am I going to do? So when I realized I still need to take like biology, anatomy, and physiology, AWC offers it, but at the time it was only in person. They didn't have online classes.
Okay.
So I had to, like, AWC, they helped me a lot with the sense of, they said, hey, you know what? These classes, you can do these online through here, or they kind of helped me do that. So I started to do that online
They
while
give
I
you
was,
a lot of options.
they did, yeah.
Yeah.
So when I was, I kind of reached out to the doctor and I was like, hey, I can't do that program. It's in Lake Havasu. There's no way I can't do it. I can't afford it. Can't afford to leave my family for 2 years or go and come. I just couldn't. So he kind of kept picking their brains at the hospital, and he kept telling them, like, hey, you guys, they do on the job training for surgical techs in a lot of places. Like, why not do it here? And they were just like, yeah, no, we won't. They just, I don't think they realized they could, till they finally got an educator, um, who was in the OR, who decided, she was asked one day, like, hey, what do you think about a surgical tech program? She was like, and this was like kind of during COVID.
Mhm.
So I think because they were able to slow down just a little bit and maybe they had the time. I'm not sure how it started. But she was like, yeah, like, that would work. And then one day they were just like, hey, we're going to do this program.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So since I was already doing those like anatomy classes, they were like, that's a good way to start because you do need to know about the human body. And it kind of just like went from there. So if it wasn't for like AWC really helping push to take those courses and those
Mhm.
classes, like, I don't know what really would have happened from there. So that is a requirement now for the surgical tech program, is
Mhm.
you need to have, your biology, anatomy, and physiology.
Mhm.
Sounds heavy. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But well,
And when you were studying here, are you like receiving FAFSA or some help?
yeah, about financial aids and
Yeah, about
scholarships.
So, I mean, yes. But like I said, I started really young, and
Mm.
I ruined that, like I messed that up. Like my first or second semester here, like, like I was taking English and like the first maths that you need, and
Mhm.
I think I failed, and it was like to the point where they're like, "Hey, like you're getting your FAFSA taken away," and I didn't realize what that meant at the time.
Oy.
So now, like
So they take off your FAFSA?
yeah,
Oh
yeah,
my god.
I don't know what it's like now. This is, I graduated high school in 2009, so it's been a while.
Okay.
But like now, I tell people who do it, like, don't mess it up. Like, I've
Yeah.
been there. Don't do it, because I promise you, you're gonna regret it. You're not gonna get help anymore. So like now, like I'm at the point where my stepkids are going to college, and they go to ASU, and I was
Okay.
like, do not mess up your financial aid. Your FAFSA what's going to help you pay for college because it's expensive.
It is.
Mhm.
So I think kids now kind of really understand that a little bit more than when I did.
Yeah, and I think now we have like more information
Yeah.
about that, and we have like more pages and more like places that you can get information.
I don't know. And this is a question. How is to like being studying, like, having a family, have to get money for somewhere, like how you manage your time and your brain for being so many places at the same time.
It's hard and I think that's what took me so long, like I would have been done. I graduated high school at 17. I should have been able to do the nursing program and have been done by, I want to say 19, 20, right?
Hmm.
But I didn't because I struggled. Like I said, I struggled with school and the FAFSA, and you're young. And because I don't, my mom didn't graduate high school. She
Yes.
didn't, she didn't go to school in the States. She didn't know what none of that was.
Exactly. You,
So
you don't have a reference.
she didn't have that like help. Like, hey, this is what you need to do. I mean, she would tell me like, "Hey, I don't have a lot of money to help, send you to school, but I'll help you any way that I can." So luckily, she always had my back in that sense, but she didn't know.
You got to find out on your
I
own.
had to figure it out on my own, and here I am. I had to figure it out on my own. So, I always tell people like, this is what you should do. Like, go to school and stick to it. And if you're taking too many classes and you're too overwhelmed, then cut down a class or ask for help because I never did. I was just like
Yeah,
super shy and I didn't understand something, and I just
I don't know
Yeah.
how to say this in English, but the correct words in Spanish are "aprendiste a la mala."
yeah, you just learn the hard way.
Yeah.
I did. I struggled and I learned. Now
Yeah.
I know, but um
At the end of the day, you learn.
mhm.
Yeah.
You gain experience.
I think that's kind of what that it made me, you know what I mean? So, I'm not mad at it.
It's fine.
It
Yeah.
is it
You're
is it
stronger now.
happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you did like what you want.
Yeah.
You
There
got it.
there was
Yeah.
days, I mean, it took years, right, to get where I'm at. So, there was really hard times, but I figured it out, so.
For those persons, for that people that is listening at this right now and feel the same, like, oh, I'm gonna take forever. I think I'm just gonna quit in the middle of the way.
Yeah.
What can you say to them? Keep going,
Yeah,
or maybe
but,
any advice?
if you need to quit, I don't like to tell people quit, right?
Mhm.
But I had to quit in order to figure things out. I had to
Mhm.
quit in order to feel that like, hey, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be a quitter. I don't want to like
Yeah.
feel like there was days where I felt like, oh, I'm gonna be nobody, right? So there's days I needed to feel like that. I needed that motivation to like, hey, no, like you don't want to be a nobody, right? Like you want to be somebody. You got to figure it out. And then I think too, because I had kids and I had to like
Mhm.
figure out, hey, no, they need to have a good life, and if I gave them a bad life, I would feel guilty forever.
Exactly.
So
Great. So you found your own
yeah,
motivation.
yeah, I just want people to know, like, don't give up. Go ask questions. If you fail a class, it's not the end of the world. You can retake it. It is,
Yeah,
it happens.
it happens.
Yeah.
And then especially if you see people around you who are passing all their classes, you're like, why am I not
Mm.
doing it?
So
It's okay.
so for new generation, for new students, do you wanna give them like a little sneak peek? Not a sneak peek, maybe an overview about the new program that is
Yeah.
being here.
So this program is to train, a surgical technologist,
Hmm.
which means you're in surgery, you're helping set up for a surgery, you're helping your surgeon, your first assist during surgery, and I always tell people like, don't think you're gonna be like in Grey's Anatomy. That's not the reality of it.
Okay.
It's not. This is like real life. It's real patients that you're taking care of, and y- you always have to think like, what if that's my mom or dad on that table, right? So
Exactly.
you always have to feel like that person is your family. You want to take care of them. You want to make sure everybody in that team in that room is helping take care of that patient, and it's a lot. It's a lot of stress. It's very high paced. You really have to use your brain. Like you really have to think things through. You really have to, you have to think two steps ahead always. And so I always tell people, if that's what you think is for you, then do it. The program is a 6-month long training. So you start from doing online modules, and then I remember the first day was like, learn how to scrub your hands. I will tell you, it's it's hard. Like
Yeah.
the first day I was like, I wanted to cry. My hands hurt so bad. You can't bring your hands down. You're scrubbing your hands for 10 seconds on each finger. Like that's a lot, you know?
Yeah.
So it's you have to, physically mentally be built for it.
Mhm.
So you start from, online modules to scrubbing, learning how to scrub your hands, to learning how to put on a gown and glove. And trust me, that sounds easy, but it's not.
Mm. I know.
It is not easy.
I see a lot of videos like for people washing her hands before a surgery or something like that. In the video, it's like 2 minutes long or something like
Yeah.
that.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So
it's
it's
a
like
lot of
little
work.
things you start.
Procedures.
The program's a crash course. Like think about it. This program's like usually a 2-year program at a school. So now you're doing it. You're crash coursing it into 6 months. And it's a lot. But it's like I've told them before. There was days where I would go home and I would say I'm not going back. I don't want to do it because it's a lot and it's very stressful. And now I think back and I'm like I'm so glad I never quit because I love my job. I
It is
love
worth
what I
it.
do.
Yeah.
It's worth it. After your 6 months, your training, you do 3 months of orientation, meaning you're on your own, but there's somebody watching you.
Okay.
And then you continue to learn every single day of your job. I've been there 4 years and I still learn every single day. So
Okay. I want to ask you if someone wants to apply to the program, what they need to do.
so they need to go to onvitahealth.org.
Uh-huh.
There will be a tab, um, and it's going to be under academics and training, and it will say surgical technologist internship program, and it'll have all the information on there.
Mhm.
Um, they will be asked to have, an anatomy and physiology. I believe it's 1 and 2. I'm not 100%, but they can ask. And they do a interview process.
Mhm.
And as far as I know, the interviews have been pretty crazy. There's been a lot of people that apply, and they do only select 2 to 3 people. And as far as I know, they're doing it twice a year. So I know that they just finished the interview process for this next course that's going to start, and it should start in July. So it's July to January when those new interns will train, and then they'll do their 3 months of orientation. So I'm not sure when they'll open it back up, but if they just call and ask, there is a contact information, there's a phone number, and there's also an email they can.
So, last question. If you could go back in time and give yourself an advice, what would it be?
To have done this sooner.
For real?
Yeah, I would have not wasted all that time just like trying to figure out what to do, where to go, who to talk to, what I wanted to do. I would have done it
Clean a
sooner.
little bit the way?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Perfect. All right, Anna, thank you so much for being here in Siendo Primero today. So having you here can, as Angelica was saying,
Mhm.
encourage a lot of students that are maybe in this thin line between doing it or not doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So this is pretty valuable information. Not information, just experiences.
Yeah.
Like actually hearing someone that is already there, that has been through all of this, that you have doubts about, it's just priceless. So thank you so much.
Of
Do you have
course.
any song that you would like to leave to the audience?
Song?
Yeah, maybe your
Yeah.
favorite song
I don't know.
Like a
uh,
song like you
on
like
repeat.
to listen like before work or something
Oh,
like
it
that.
just depends. Like I do go to work really early.
Uh-huh.
So there's days I just need silence.
Okay.
Okay.
Like I just have to not hear anything because I know the whole day I'm going to hear machines beeping, people talking,
Yeah.
instruments like hitting each other. So
So
sometimes I just like
no
I
stimulus.
don't want to hear. Yeah, like it's very overstimulating, right? But then there's days where it just depends. Like
Mhm.
sometimes it's like summer, right? So it's like Bad Bunny is the first thing that comes on.
Yeah.
So it just depends, I just
Okay.
yeah.
So for the next 3 minutes, we're gonna have silence for you to.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Nice.
Yeah.
No, okay. Maybe you can like
A song
choose
that
a
you,
song like you makes you happy.
Any Bad Bunny song right now. His new album, like I don't know.
Yeah.
well, I'll leave it up to Angelica.
Okay,
'Cause
yeah, she
she's
can
the
pick
Bad
it.
Bunny
Yeah.
fan, so
Okay.
it's fine. So thank you so much for being
Of
here,
course. Thank you
and
guys.
see you next time.
Sounds good.
Mhm.
Thanks.